think we'll be speaking with Mohammed Amin Lamptey now. He's joined us. He's the Director of Communications at the Ghana Boxing Authority. Mohammed, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, Nathan. Thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful stuff. We spoke about a week or so ago. I'm sure a week has been a long time. Things have happened. What updates can you give us on this evolving story?
Nathan, first of all, let me thank you so much for having me again. Good morning to your colleagues and good morning to your church listeners and viewers on social media. And let me commend you for the support in our crisis analysis. And we're at the stage of crisis management, and we hope later today, when we have the postmortem results, we'll get to the level of resolution, crisis resolution. Nathan, the only update that we have now is that we are going through a lot. We are going through a lot because it's not easy. A lot of people have been traumatized. Some have some inner effects. Some also realize that it was a clarion call that would help us to correct some of our abnormalities to make sure the right things are done. We had a lot of calls across the globe, not only in Nigeria, America, UK, Australia, and all those too are part and parcel of boxing in the world. So they've added value to some of the decisions that we need to take, some of the things that we've taken for granted, and how we can help to preserve the integrity and dignity of our boxers. Later, it is all about waiting for the results. You know, it all started with the Olanrewaju hospital doctors who were in charge of the postmortem. They requested for report from the police. When we submitted the signal, they need to have a judge at the court to sign before they proceed with the postmortem. So ourselves, the GBA president, and the police officers moved to the high court. Fortunately, we had a judge who signed, and we brought it to the doctors, and they proceeded ahead with the postmortem.
Okay.
At a point, we were waiting when they came to tell us that we have to go and come the next day because they've not finished. When we returned back the next day, at a point, they said, yes, they are done with it, but we need to take, another information to the court again because that is the result. Before they deliver the result officially, we need to go back to the court for the court to sign again before we come for the results. So when we went to the court, according to the judge, when he read through the information provided by the doctors, they also have a point where they want them to come clear because it looks like the information the doctors provided are inconclusive.
Okay.
So they expected them to, they expected them to be straightforward, not to say that we have done the autopsy, we've discovered, we've identified this, but for further investigation. Further investigation means that they still have to go beyond what they have discovered. So the judge said no. So we brought it back. So last Friday, that was where we were. So the judge said that until they clarify the further investigation, or they have to continue to do the further investigation before they present the information to them for them to also endorse it before it is officially put out in the public domain. So Nathan, today, we were promised to come back today. So today, the doctors at the Olanrewaju hospital, those who are in charge of the autopsy, whether they have continued with the further investigation they spoke about, or they will rather narrow it within what they saw about what are the causes of the death. So that is where we are today, Nathan.
Okay, I'm just curious. So when you get these results today, does it wrap up this part of the story? I ask because I picked up some information that it would take a while before, for example, the body is released to the Nigerians. So as soon as you have this autopsy, does it mean that the body will be handed over to the Nigerians, or there will still be a few things to complete before that can happen?
Nathan, it's a collective responsibility. And that is why the GBA, and the Nigerian Acting High Commissioner, these are the two bodies who are part and parcel of the process. What I've just narrated, it is not really only the GBA president and the acting high commissioner, and Osebo is the promoter who brought the gentleman to Ghana. It is part and parcel of all that we're going through. And Nathan, I can tell you that the expenditure that we went through this process were borne by this promoter, the promoter who brought the boxer down to Ghana. And the GBA also played some effective role, but it was this responsible guy who brought him down, who did all that. So now the point here is that when we have the results, yes, we may put it out there from the consultation of the acting commissioner. When we are done, then the GBA and the team will move to the Interior Ministry, where we need to go and get information, clarification, so that because the body would have to go through, it will go by road. As we speak now, we've identified areas where we'll get vehicles that are already there, meant for Nigerians who might pass away here or who might need some, if in case of any eventuality, we have the ambulance, special ambulance that moves from Accra to Nigeria. So the High Commissioner and ourselves are working around that one. And then so today, if we have the results will then help us to be able to move to start the process at the Ministry of Interior before the body could be transported to Nigeria. Nathan.
Okay, all right. I just want to know, so between the last time we spoke and now, between the start of this very sad story and today, how have things gone with your counterparts from Nigeria, the Nigerian Boxing Board of Control? I'm sure you've heard them speak. They say they want answers. So far, how have relations been with them? And what about the questions that they feel are outstanding? Do you have answers for them, or you believe that maybe by the time the autopsy is done and all of that is concluded, you may have the answers that they want?
Isn't it interesting that we are dealing with the real issue? And the question you're talking about, nobody has presented an official question to the GBA. All these questions you're talking about are speculative information on social media. We've never had any official information from the Nigerian Boxing Board of Control asking questions. Because what happened, Nathan, with the advent of social media, and if you look at Sporty, what Sporty has done ever since this incident happened, you hear issues that we went to inform the public, to educate the public, to interpret issues that people might have problem with. So if the Nigeria Boxing Board of Control haven't started with you, and at the point you've decided to go your own way to raise issues that are very questionable. So
hold on.
We are focusing.
Mohammed, hold on. What you're saying that what we have decided to do? What exactly?
Oh, I'm saying that. Oh, I'm saying Sporty. You look at what you guys have done.
And what have we done?
No, I'm saying that. Look at the analysis. Look at the discussions you've had with the GBA.
Yes.
We are also monitoring other things that the Nigeria Boxing.
Yes, and we have spoken. Yes, and we spoke with them, and they say
exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying that look at the work you guys are doing.
Yes.
And Nathan, what you guys are doing is a form of informing, educating, interpreting issues related to this issue. Excellent. But the situation where, as we are struggling to make sure this guy will go through this process before the body is sent to Nigeria, and then you have the Boxing Federation asking the GBA questions that might distract what we are doing. Fair deal. No, we are not reacting.
Mohammed,
yes.
A former colleague of mine will say that we can walk and chew gum. So it is true. A boxer has died. We are trying to sort out all these administrative parts and everything. Fair point. And I think that everybody is collaborating. But on the other hand, as all of this is happening, the Nigerians have also raised certain queries. And they believe that the Ghana...
What are the queries?
Sorry?
What are the queries?
Are you saying that you haven't heard the queries raised by the Nigerians?
That is the point that I'm making to you. Nathan, when somebody puts out something on social media, If that thing is not verifiable, it is not officially endorsed.
Okay. So we've had, listen, Mohammed, we've spoken to two people, Dr. Oladipo of the Nigerian Boxing Board of Control, and we've spoken to Remy Aboderin. I'm sure you know the two gentlemen. One is the president, one is the general secretary. They have told us on record that they have some questions for the Ghana Boxing Authority.
What are the questions?
Okay, now they say, and they say that they believe that, one, they handed a permit out to the late boxer to fight on a Friday, and they discover he fights on a Saturday. They didn't give him clearance to fight on a Saturday, so they want to find out how that happened. That is not for me to answer. That is for hold on. That is for the Ghana Boxing Authority. So I just asked, have you received those questions? Yes. If yes, how are you answering those questions? That's just a very simple thing. Yes.
The point that I'm making is that the job I'm doing as a PR of the Ghana Boxing Authority is a professional responsibility. I don't just listen to speculations or what somebody has put out there that you may think that is verifiable. And I've really answered this question. I told them, in boxing, even Ghanaian boxers travel outside this country. They go out there and they have similar problems. Fights are risky.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I think it's 2020 or 2019, a Ghanaian boxer traveled to Nigeria. He collapsed, nearly to death, but nobody heard it because the GBA president directed, when the guy was sent to the hospital, we've managed the situation. If not that day that I'm saying this to you, nobody heard it because of the end result, because of the backdrop. So the point that I'm making here is that they raise questions. Fine, you are saying it. But we, as Ghana Boxing Authority, we've not received any official notification or question to answer in regards to this.
Okay.
If we have even received it, we would use the same channel that they've channeled this information to us to forward the report to them. Okay. And we are in the process. That is the point that I'm making. Now listen, now the chairman or the president of the Nigerian Boxing Board of Control, I read somewhere, I also heard him saying that the boxer left behind 3 children. And just yesterday night, I read a story that the wife granted interview to the Punch. The Punch interviewed me, and I'm yet to see the story, my story. The interview they granted the Ghana Boxing Authority through me, I'm yet to see that story. I've never seen any story that they interviewed me. Now the lady, she is now saying that they have 2 kids. And the chairman or the president of the Nigerian Boxing Board of Control said 3. Now, Nathan, which is which?
Okay, Mohammed, that's, you see, 3 kids, 2 kids. The point we have, you see, we are dealing with substantive. As for 3 kids, 2 kids, and all of that, I don't think those are really the hardcore facts. Anyway, I just want to ask something concerning the autopsy. You said okay, let me get it right. How many autopsies are going to be done? Or is it that one has been done and you will get 2 results? I just want to understand something.
As we speak now, we cannot tell you how many was done. Okay. And as I told you, they were able to do part of the autopsy.
Okay.
They gave it out, but the court decided that, look, they have indicated that they not finished with the exercise.
Okay.
They've identified
the full exercise, the full autopsy.
Yeah, no, the court is calling for, if indeed they want the full, then they have to continue to finish it up before they sign. Okay. If the one that they did partially, if they only want that one, then they must ignore the further treatment or the further exercise that they were talking about for them to say, because they cannot do something that is partially done. That is what the court is saying.
Okay, so what are you able to tell us what was discovered, at least after the preliminary one?
I cannot really give it to you because it's not official.
Okay.
Whatever that I'm going to give you could be speculative because the court must sign and the doctors must also endorse. It will be submitted to the police, and the police will submit to the GBA. The GBA and the Nigerian Acting High Commissioner, they are those that will decide how and when to submit the result to the public. So for now, even if I know what causes the death, I have no right professionally to make it public.
Okay. And in all of this, one one element or one actor in this we have not spoken about a lot is the opponent of success on the night, John Mbanugu. How is he faring? Have you spoken with him? Do you have an idea of his mental state after this very traumatic episode?
Undoubtedly, we are with him. As I indicated, we know that he'll be traumatized. Not only him, even myself. I'm the ring announcer.
Yeah, you were there. Yeah, you were.
Yeah, I'm the ring announcer. I'm closer to the scene more than anybody. Because I introduced the two boxes. I was closer to the ring. When the gentleman fell on the rope, I was watching him. When the paramedics came to him, I was watching. The period he had with him, I was watching. The time that he went down, I have it on my record as 2 minutes 46 seconds. When he was carried through the boxing arena to the Kolibu Teaching Hospital, I monitored and saw everything. So I am also traumatized. But as a professional PR person, we also have a way of trying to analyze issues and be able to get ourselves, physically, psychologically, mentally, on course. Now, what about the referee? Richard Amivi, he was right there. He was also traumatized. Even some of the boxing fans who were there, you cannot identify or quantify the number of people who are supposed to be traumatized. Nathan, and I'm very sure there are people watching it live on television who were also traumatized. That is why I keep talking about crisis management. Now, this boxer, we spoke to him. Well, you go and play the interview I had with him. Even when the young man fell down, when he was taken away, when I interviewed him, he was super excited. He said that he was happy, he has won the fight because this is a credible opponent. It was later when I said, so you are happy you won. Won't you consider the health condition of your opponent? He's so sorry. Even when he expressed his joy, the fans at the Bukum Boxing Arena, they screamed, they hooted at him. So it was later that I realized that he made a very big mistake in expressing his excitement. So later on, he came down and then expressed, his sadness and said that he wished him a speedy recovery. So that was a process. But you see, I just read this morning that somebody, reported that the boxer has decided to retire from boxing. How could this be true? Even if it is true, is it a time for us to publish some of these things? Why don't we take our time not to even ask this guy critical questions
Mohammed, I remember last week I spoke with the gentleman, Gordon. He did say that the way everything played out, initially, John considered walking away, but he has been convinced that he should continue. He should man up and continue.
Wonderful, Nathan. Nathan, that is your report. Why you go on social media now? Somebody came out with a story with the headline that the boxer has decided to retire.
But I'm sure this is something you can verify from the boxer, I'm sure.
Oh, Nathan, I can tell you that when we verify from the boxer will say no, because this is not the first time we have such incidents. There are boxers that might not even die instantaneously, as we experienced with our brother. Some may even be at the hospital, stay in the hospital for more than a month or two. Even that one is even more traumatic than the person dying instantaneously. Because that is why God gives us forgetfulness. Because, Nathan, we've lost our uncles, we've lost our daddies, we've lost our moms and all that. Within some short time, naturally, God himself had a way of working on our mind for us to forget about it and move on. Okay. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So this young man is a boxer. Why must we, as journalists, if indeed we are part and parcel of the fraternity, we don't need to ask some of these salient questions now. Let's wait and even be able to know the kind of questions that we ask to get the guy motivated, inspired for him to forget about what happened. Because if you have somebody on radio or television or maybe on social media trying to even say that this guy will suffer, why must he even fight?
Mohammed, I have told you that. We have spoken with the boxer's manager, and he's detailed everything. Let's just make
pontificating, Nathan. I'm not pontificating what I'm saying to.
You've highlighted your concern.
No.
I know. I know.
You have listeners. Nathan, hold on. Take your time. I know you have listeners. You have viewers who are listening to you this morning, who might be part of this speculation. That is what I'm making the point. I'm not really directing
No problem. And I'm only telling you that. And I'm only telling you that this bit of clarification, we got it already from the promoter. So don't worry your head. I think discerning Ghanaians know where we stand in terms of whether Mbanugu will fight. And I just want to ask, so what are the plans for the boxing league? I'm hearing some rumors that it could resume this weekend. How true is that? Will the boxing league resume this weekend, or there's a pause to close this matter out and then we can resume properly?
Nathan, this is very interesting for someone to circulate that this weekend we're going to resume the league when we are in the process. We don't know how far we will go, whether even today we'll get the results or not. And somebody going out there to say that we're going to have a boxing league. Not at all. Now, this incident that happened should not close the doors of boxing activities in this country, regardless.
Okay.
Yes, the boxing league, it was on that platform that we had this crisis.
Yeah.
Now, GBA have been seeing stories flying across, social media, that some have fights coming up on 25th, because in boxing you have to start the promotion on time. So most of them, that is one of the problems that we have in Ghana boxing. Nathan, there is a mandatory official 2 weeks period that you need to submit the contract of the boxers that are going to fight on your bill.
Okay.
We need to know the contracts, the parents, the boxers, their gymnasium, their records, their medical reports, 2 weeks ahead of time. The GBA would take time to do the analysis with their physician with regards to their condition. The technical director would have to visit all these boxers in their gymnasium to justify that they are active boxers. Nathan, because we have boxers who are not active. Mm-hmm. They don't train. They are just sitting at home, and then they'll bring their names. When they bring their names, the next Friday, you see them at the weigh-in. They are not fit. They come in box. Okay. And there are some also that will bring the name of Nathan Gaduga. Nathan Gaduga, they will bring your name, Nathan Kwa, as a boxer fighting on Saturday. But on the day of the weigh-in, they will bring somebody to serve as an imposter using your name. There are times that Nathan Kwa will come to the weigh-in, his name will be submitted, he will come for the weigh-in, he's the one that will go through the process, he'll be checked medical and everything. But on the fight night, you will not see Nathan Kwa. You will not see somebody who is Kwame Yaboa. Because as somebody who has been in the industry for over 25 years, Nathan, by the grace of God, I know all the boxes. Okay. So when an imposter, if an intruder is part of the process, I will know. So these are the things. These are the things that are happening. So because of these stories that we see flying, the GBA on Saturday put out a release notifying all matchmakers and then promoters that henceforth, anybody who wants to have any events in the days to come or the week to come should go by the 2 weeks mandatory, constitutional, methods that we have to submit their information on time before time, because we cannot tell every promoter or any event to see that we are putting on hold on them. No fight again. No, that one we've done that one. But with regards to GBA, IMAX Boxing Promotion Syndicate, with regards to the boxing league, we've not taken any decision yet. We are still in the process to make sure that the guy will be given a defeated barrier.
Okay. So these measures that you mentioned, the 2 week window, verifying contracts and all of that, has this always been part of the process, or this is something new you want to do after this sad episode occurred about a week ago?
Nathan, it's one of the cogent things that you need to do as a promoter, matchmaker, even the GBA. But a lot of people have taken this for granted. And Nathan, I can tell you that it's one of the problems that we have discovered, we have identified, that we need to make sure we plug that loophole. Nathan, because if you have a fight and you are submitting your contract boxers information 3 days before the fight, for example, if the fight is coming up on Saturday, and then you submit it on Thursday. Nathan, can you imagine when and how are you going to go through the process of verification? How do we go through checking the boxes, medical report, and all that? Okay. So this is what had happened, because in the past, there are individuals who have taken the GBA to court based on this time, the proximity of bringing their contract and everything before the GBA. That is why a Ghana Boxing Authority, if you look at all the fights, the GBA would have to sanction and approve. The GBA may even approve your fight, but if it is not sanctioned, there is no way it will take place. But today, with what happened to Gabriel, we've learned our lessons. That is why the GBA, we've seen the story flying. No, none of them has come to the GBA for any official, report that we want to have fight this day or that day. That is why we put it out there to call their attention, remind them. It's just a reminder. Not that we are not bringing something new. The Constitution is there. So we are just reminding them that for now, nobody will be accepted to bring his or her information a week before a fight. Bring it at exactly 2 weeks before time, Nathan.
Okay, all right. We'll see how things go. Mohammed, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your time. Still have our condolences. We are in a period of mourning, and we wish you, the rest of the team, your Nigerian counterparts, the very, very best. I'm sure when there are any updates, we'll come back to you for clarity and for more information as and when the need arises.
Nathan, once again, let me thank you so much. I appreciate you and your team. And I don't know what to say than to thank you so much. And just want to also encourage, our counterparts in Nigeria, that we are all in the same boat. Some of the stories that go out there is not really helping the process. And we hope today we'll get the autopsy results. We'll go through the process. We know the Ministry of Interior is waiting for us. When we are done, we'll transport our brother to Nigeria and offer him the fitting barrier. And for the wife, we've read a lot of stories. And this is not about the Ghana Boxing Authority. It's about Ghana. So you now look at it from the diplomatic point of view. The Nigeria High Commission to Ghana, undoubtedly, the government would interact with him with regards to how to compensate the woman, how to help the case and all that. Undoubtedly, we'll know what to do. But the Nigeria Boxing Board of Control, I know they also have their own internal measures that deals with some of these situations. Why don't we collectively think about it and see how best we can help each other than going out there, put out stories that will rather bring division between the two, boxing federation than bringing us together as one people with common destiny. Nathan, you are the best. Good morning.
Mohammed, thank you so much for your time. That was Mohammed Amin Lamptey, Director of Communications with the Ghana Boxing Authority. So